Okay, so now we have step 2 of the teabowl. We have attached the walls, we've created a cylinder, so now it is time for us to establish the bottom of this. So we have to decide which part we want to be the bottom. We look at the teabowl and think, which way do we want to be up, which way do we want to be down. I think I like the orientation like this, so I think that this will be the top. So if this is the top, I'm going to take that and I'm going to turn it upside down like this. Okay, now I'm just going to make it kind of clean. It doesn't have to be perfect, but I do want it to be round. And now I am going to take my knife, my regular old plastic knife, and I'm going to mark out the north, south, west, and east. But before I do that, I need to make sure that I know where my seam is. So on this one, I did a pretty good job. My seam is right here. So I don't want to locate my seam on north, south, west, or east. I can turn that any direction I want to. Since it's facing north, this is my north, it would be your south. So let's call it that. Since the seam is facing south for you, I'm going to turn it, this is west, right? So I'm going to turn it south-west, like that. Now, I'm going to take my knife and I'm going to mark my south, and I can make a pretty strong mark here. South, north, west, east. 4 divisions. If you look at that, you can see I have 4 pretty even divisions. Now I'm going to take this piece of paper that's been supplied to you. I think it's about 18 inches by about 1 5/8 inches wide. And we're going to use this. This is a tool. We're going to use this for a couple of things. The first thing we're going to use it for is we're going to use it from the top edge like this. Right here at this south mark that we made, we're going to put a little horizontal mark below it. So it looks like this. Here's my horizontal mark, and here's my mark for south. And I'm going to go ahead and just draw a line down from there to the horizontal mark, or scribe a line, I should say. We're not drawing. And we're going to turn this, and we're going to do the same thing all the way around. Now this is interesting because I'm cutting into my point of focal emphasis, so I may have to reestablish this later on. Pull that down. So now I have a line on all 4 of those from that south, west, north, east, from here down to that mark, all the way around the edge. Okay, now this piece of paper I said was a tool, so we can also take that and fold it in half like this, and that gets our center point here. And now we're going to set the center point on each one of those marks, those north, south, west, and east marks, and we're going to use the edges to make a mark on either side. And where we folded it, that goes right on your north, south, west, or east. Okay, so now I have my center mark, and then I have a mark on either side. Now the next move for us is that we're going to cut from those outside marks in a diagonal fashion to the bottom here, just like this, and we're going to cut a wedge out. So I'll go ahead and do that. And now you remove that wedge of clay, you can set that to the side, and we're going to go ahead and do that all the way around. I'm going to do it facing me because it's a little bit easier for me to see. Okay, so now we have 4 triangular sections that have been taken out equally around the pot. So now we'll take our fork and we're going to score like we did before when we put the cylinder together. Don't be afraid to score very deeply and aggressively. A little water on there. If you score very lightly, the bond is not very strong. Imagine that your scoring is like putting your hands together. And if you put your hands together very easily like this and your fingers intertwine but barely, they can slide away. But if we push them in very deeply like that, they're locked. They're not going anywhere. Okay, so now we're going to, just like we did on the larger form, we're going to hold it with our hands on either side, our fingers on either side, and we're going to mash that together really, really well. And then support on the inside and compress. Again, not worrying too much about this extra clay. We can just take that and set that off to the side. It's a little bit messy. Compress. I'm working on a piece of canvas here, but you will probably be working on some newspaper on your table. Hold these. Really, really push them together. Back it up. Compress. And the final corner. And now we have the beginnings of our teabowl. It's starting to look a little bit more like something that is a vessel rather than just a cylinder. And now I will support and compress these seams. And if I feel like I need to add coil to these seams, that's a wise choice. So we've got plenty of waste clay, so it's a good idea to roll up a little coil, mash a little bit of coil into those seams and compress them. Always making sure that when you do, back the pot up with your hand is curved, it'll hold the form, you can put the coil in and compress the coil. So that's your next step for constructing your teabowl.